Hi, welcome to a lesson on English language, and this is for SPM Paper 2. The code is 1119-2, and today's focus is on summary. So this is the Paper 2 1119-2. The summary question is in section C. You are going to listen to the audio for the reading of the passage.
November and December are always wet in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. But this time the clouds outdid themselves, soaking the town of Kota Bharu with twice the usual rainfall. So when the sun at last shone in early January, Bactia and Kamaria's 3 older children ran outside to play with their friends. Inside, Kamaria, 30, nursed their youngest, 4-month-old baby, while her mom and great-aunt sat on the couch. Suddenly Kamaria heard a sound, like the roar of a jet. She rushed outside in time to see a tsunami of churning mud, sand and debris thundering down the hill towards them. She gathered everyone into the bedroom furthest from the falling hillside, where they huddled and waited, praying for the best. Bactia, a 37-year-old farmer, and his father-in-law were working on their orchard when they got a hysterical call from Kamaria. The mountain had fallen, she cried. Houses had been swept away. He got the gist, landslide. The men got into their pickup and sped back home, but traffic on the road home had come to a halt. Both sides of the road were covered with a thick stew of mud, snapped trees, and chunks of what used to be homes. A roof sat in the middle of what had been the road. Bactia jumped out of the truck and ran along the road. A police officer shouted for him to stop. "If you want to stop me, you'll have to shoot me," Bactia hollered as he kept going. Almost immediately, the mud came up to his knees. While he was stepping over logs and pieces of wood, he heard a woman scream for help. He followed the sound through the mud that was now waist-high. Soon he had to belly crawl over the shattered remnants of houses to reach the source of the cries. God had given Bactia an opportunity to put to practice all the essential survival skills he had learned that can get him through any emergency. At first, all he could see was an arm reaching up through the debris. He pulled away some smaller branches and a sofa cushion, and there she was, a dark-haired young woman buried under pieces of walls, furniture and trees. Her head was bloody and gashed. And she was holding a baby boy. The baby was not looking good, and the mother said she could not feel her own legs. Bactia kept her talking while he pulled away the wood, metal, and furniture springs trapping the mother and her child. At last, he was able to free the baby. By this time, other helpers had made it to the site. Pulling off his sweatshirt, Bactia turned it inside out and wrapped the baby inside. He handed him to one of the rescuers and went back to digging out the mother. With others now taking the lead on freeing the woman, Bactia moved on. He was still a kilometer away from home. Wading again through a landscape turned upside down, Bactia saw 2 houses that had collapsed. He heard a moan coming from the ruins. Bactia managed to slowly wriggle his way out of the mud and continued towards the wrecked structure. He found an older man in the rubble, buried in house debris and tree limbs. He was at least twice Bactia's weight and was solidly wedged. Bactia had to wait for more help. Hearing helicopter rotors above, Bactia climbed up on the roof, met a member of the search and rescue team, and led him to the wedged-in man. Once the rest of the helicopter crew arrived, it was time for Bactia to find his family. An hour later, Bactia finally reached home. It was flooded, but the mud had stopped just shy of the house. Kamaria and the others were not in the house. He checked the cars and houses nearby for survivors, then walked back towards the village road and hitched a ride to the search and rescue team's operation center. Not long after he arrived, the farmer saw his truck coming down the road. Kamaria pulled over, leapt out, and ran to him. He folded her into his arms and hugged her close. Softly, he spoke, "Let's go home, Kamaria. I've seen too much. Take me home."
This is the question for the summary. It is number 31. Bakhtiar managed to save a few victims of the landslide while he was racing back to check on his family. Write a summary on what he did to save the victims and the problem he faced. So remember that you have to write his actions to save the victims and also the problems or his problems while doing so. Then credits will be given for use of own words, but care must be taken not to change the original meaning. Your summary must be in continuous writing form, not note form. Use material from line 19 to line 41. So remember, the contents or your answers are from line 19 to line 41. And then your summary must not be longer than 130 words, including the 10 words given below. So let's look at the words. Begin your summary as follows. Bakhtiar followed the sound of the woman screaming for help. So marks for summary 15. So 10 will be for contents and 5 marks for language. Remember that you have to write the 10 words given. This is the passage, and then remember that you have to first of all draw a line. So the line is line 19, which is the 4th paragraph, and then you know that the contents are here, where you have to write actions and problems. It is about Bakhtiar. Okay, so when you get this sort of question, you need to find the content points for the summary. For example, the first one, he followed the sound through the mud that was now waist high. Soon he had to barely crawl over the shattered remnants of houses to reach the source of the cries. So it is better for you to underline the content points. And then the next one you have, he pulled away some smaller branches and a sofa cushion, and there she was, a dark-haired young woman buried under pieces of walls, furniture and trees. And then you have, Bakhtiar kept her talking while he pulled away the wood, metal and furniture springs, trapping the mother and her child. And next you have, pulling off his sweatshirt, Bakhtiar turned it inside out and wrapped the baby inside. He handed him to one of the rescuers and went back to digging out the mother. Okay, then we are going to look at the next paragraph. Remember, draw the line. The last line is line 41. And then you know that the contents will be in paragraph 6 and 7. Okay, the next one will be, he saw 2 houses that had collapsed, so he heard a moan coming from the ruins. Bakhtiar managed to slowly wriggle his way out of the mud and continued towards the wrecked structure. He found an older man in the rubble, buried in house debris and tree limbs. He was at least twice Bakhtiar's weight, so this is the problem, and was solidly wedged. Bakhtiar had to wait for more help. Hearing helicopter rotors above, Bakhtiar climbed up on the roof, met a member of the search and rescue team, and led him to the wedged-in man. Now let's look at how to write the summary. Remember that this is a question. Bakhtiar managed to save a few victims of the landslide while he was racing back to check on his family. Write a summary on what he did to save the victim. So remember that what he did to save the victim and the problem he faced. Okay, let's look at the passage. The first one, Bakhtiar followed the sound of the woman screaming for help. So So C1, you must remember that you have to write through the mud that was now waist high. So this is the one. The 10 given words will be: heard woman screaming for help. Okay, and then he followed the sound through the mud that was now waist high. So how to change this sentence? You can write: Bhaktia followed the sound of the woman screaming for help through the waist high mud. Okay, this is how you change the given words, or the words in the passage. Next, for content 2, soon he had to barely crawl over the shattered remnants of houses to reach the source of the cry. So this is the second content point. Soon he had to crawl over the shattered remnant of houses to reach the source of the cry. Okay, how to change this sentence? You can write, you can keep the word soon. You can write he barely crawled. So he had to barely crawl. You just take out the word had to, then you concentrate on crawl, use past tense. So he barely crawled over the shattered remnants of houses to reach, okay, the sources of the cry. Just now in the 10 given words, the woman is mentioned, so you can say to reach the woman or to reach her, because the word the woman is mentioned in the 10 given words. Okay, next point. Now let's look at content 3. Content 3 will be: here he put away some smaller branches and a sofa cushion, and there she was, a dark-haired young woman buried under pieces of walls, furniture and trees. So you see here there are a lot of words, examples like smaller branches, a sofa cushion, and then you have pieces of wall, furniture and trees. Okay, how do you summarize or shorten these examples? Okay, you can write, he put away the debris. So some small branches and a sofa cushion, you can change to debris, because you also have pieces of walls, furniture, trees, cushion, branches. So all these are debris. So she put away the debris to uncover the woman, or to uncover her. Okay, next point. We have Bhaktia kept her talking while he pulled away the wood, metal and furniture springs, trapping the woman and her child. So you still have a lot of examples here, like wood, metal, furniture, spring. So you can change Bhaktia kept her talking as, okay, for the word while, you can change to as. He pulled away, okay, you can keep pull away, or you can write as he detached debris. So wood, metal and furniture springs, you can categorize them as debris. Okay, so Bhaktia kept her talking as he put away that, as he detached debris, trapping the woman and her child. Next, for point 5 or content 5, pulling off his sweatshirt, Bhaktia turned it inside out and wrapped the baby inside. Okay, so you can change the word pulling is a verb, pulling off his sweatshirt. So if this is a gerund, you can write Bhaktia pulled off his sweatshirt and turn it inside out, and the word and wrapped you can change to wrap the baby inside. Okay, 6. He handed him to one of the rescuers and went back to digging out the mother. So you can write, he handed him to one of the rescuers. You can write to a rescuer, and went back to digging. Went back you can change to continued. Okay, you can replace went back with continued digging out the mother. Point 7. Wading against a landscape turned upside down, Bhatia saw 2 houses that have collapsed. Okay, he heard a moan coming from the ruins. So you can change this to, as Bhatia waded on. So wading against through a landscape, you can write waded on. He heard a moan coming from collapsed houses. So the word 2 houses, you can write just houses. You can cancel or get rid of the word 2. Okay, just write collapsed houses, because ruins here are collapsed houses. Okay, next. Point 8. Bhatia managed to slowly wriggle his way out of the mud and continued towards the wrecked structure. Okay, so here you can summarize. Bhatia managed to slowly wriggle. So managed to slowly, these are not necessary words, so you change to he wriggled his way out of the mud and continued towards. So you replace this with one word, headed, to the wrecked structure. So the wrecked structure here is the houses or the ruins. Okay. Point number 9. He found an older man in the rubble, buried in house debris and tree limbs. So the summary, or you can summarize it by writing, he found an older man buried in the house debris and tree limbs in the ruins. Okay. And the next point, number 10, the last point. He was at least twice Bhatia's weight and was solidly wedged. Okay. So at least twice Bhatia's weight, you can write he was about twice Bhatia's weight and was wedged. So you can get rid of the word solidly. Okay. And then point 11, because there are extra points here, Bhatia had to wait for more help. So you can write Bhatia had to wait for more help. Or you can write Bhatia waited for more help, or Bhatia waited for others' help. Okay. So next. Now for the next point, content 12 and 13. Hearing helicopter rotor above, Bhatia climbed up on the roof, met a member of the search and rescue team, and led him to the wedged-in man. Okay, so there are 2 content points here. This is how you summarize the sentence. Content 12. Bhatia heard helicopter rotors and climbed up on the roof. And then for content 13, he met a member of the search and rescue team. So the word search and rescue, it is counted as one word. Okay, he met a member of the search and rescue team and led him to the wedged-in man. You can change to the trapped man. So this is the how your summary will look like. Actually, you can write your summary by writing them or writing the sentences in a table. Or if you do not want to do this, you can write using just lines in the exam booklet. So if you want to draw a table, you can draw a table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 5 columns, and then make sure that you are able to cover or write 130 words. So 130 words mean 10 given words plus your own words, 120. So if you see, let's look at the summary here. So if you see the writing in purple, so these are the extra content points. Okay, remember that you have to use some connectors or linkers. Okay, let's look at the summary. Bhaktia followed the sound of the woman screaming for help through the waist-high mud. So this is a combination of the 10 given words. Bhaktia followed the sound of the woman screaming. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are the 10 given words. Then you continue through the waist-high mud. So content 1. Then he barely crawled over the shattered remnant of houses to reach her. So content 2. He pulled away the debris to uncover her. Content 3. Bhaktia kept her talking as he pulled away debris, trapping the mother and her child. Content 4. Next, Bhaktia pulled off his sweatshirt and turned it inside out to wrap the baby inside. So content 5. He handed him to a rescuer and continued digging out the mother. When Bhaktia waded on, just now it was content 6. Okay, when Bhaktia waded on, he heard a moan coming from collapsed houses. So content 7. He wriggled his way out of the mud and headed to the houses. So content 8. He found an older man buried in the house debris and 3 limbs in the ruins. So content 9. He was about twice Bhaktia's weight and was wedged. So content 10. So you can write longer. Bhaktia waited for others' help. So content 11. Bhaktia heard helicopter rotors and climbed up on the roof. Content 12. He met a member of the rescue and research and rescue team and led him to the trapped man. So we have content 13. So remember, you only need to write 10 contents for the summary, and the 5 marks it is given for the use of the English language. Dear students, we have come to the end of the lessons for today, and just now we did a lesson for how to write a summary. We discussed try paper from the year 2020, and then there are tips given on how to summarize the sentences. So remember that for the SPM candidates or the Form 5 students, be careful when you choose the contents for the summary. Read the questions a few times. Okay, that's all. I'm going to sign off. I'm Madam Gan, and do like and subscribe to my channel. It is called Educator Omni Tip. Bye bye.